You're listening to Soul Mazel Productions with Rabbi David Katz.
Hello?
Jason, how you doing?
Rabbi, great to have you. Teach me again. Mishnah 4?
Yes, is that where we left off?
I think so.
All right. Jason, I want to ask you a question. Since the learning's going good, God willing, we'll finish the first chapter in about 25 years from now. And, are you open to having some of your friends learn the various chapters that we're not learning? That way we can finish the work on time. Are you open to that?
Sure.
So you and I will do the first chapter, right? And if anybody wants to sponsor a chapter and learn through the chapters outside of the first chapter, I think we can do the whole book in a better, faster time and get more people in the project and open it up. Does that sound good to you?
Sounds like a good idea.
All right. So then we'll, after we finish the work, then we'll like we were talking about off the learning partnership, we'll go to another project, another book, and hopefully God willing do the same thing. Sound good?
The more the better.
Yeah. By the way, I found Antigonus's grave. I tried driving to find it. It's some guy told me it's up on the hill, and I didn't actually find it, but it is right where we thought it was, not far from my house where I take my kids to school. I just got to find someone that knows exactly how to get there on foot. So that'll be exciting to go see Antigonus, and I believe you have homework to report to us from last week.
I do?
Yeah. Soko, Antigonus, and Pros.
Okay. Soho, I believe that is a place near Hebron.
Yeah.
And what about Antigonus?
What does Antigonus mean?
Well, it means the son of his father, or the quality of his father, or the equal of his father, or
right.
Something like his father would be proud of him, something like that.
And so now, if I were teaching and didn't really care, I would say Harav Almanat Lekabel Pras. I would just call that. Well, Art Scroll would tell me to call it reward, right?
Okay.
And I would call it some kind of sustenance if I didn't know any better, right?
Well,
I would say don't learn for the sake of receiving stuff. That's what I would say. What do you say?
Well, we looked into it, and pros is basically slave food. It's a pittance. It's a minimum allowance. It's what you get for a minimum service.
I'm gonna give you a new yeshivish word. Know this word. Ready? Yotzi. Repeat after me. Yotzi.
Yotzi?
Yeah. Yotzi means the bare minimum to fulfill your requirements. If I come to your house and if I were to eat bread, right? For all those people that are saying, "What? He's gonna eat at a non-Jewish person's house? Are you serious?" Don't worry, we have a hechsher, people. We took care of it. Okay, we took care of the hechsher. So, if I were to have bread. For a meal, let's say, right? We have challah, and it's a whole big deal, right? So there's no really issue of minimal amount. We're having a meal, and it goes without saying that we're going to bless Birkat HaMazon. Is that correct?
Correct.
But what if I really don't like your bread? It has nothing to do with kashrus or anything. I just don't like your bread. And I have what's called I have a kazayas, which is it's like the size of an olive amount of bread. Right? Why did I even bother? Why did I bother eating an olive size? I would say because Jason's going to want me to bless Birkat HaMazon, grace after meals with him, right? And if I don't have bread, I can't partake in the blessing. So I'll be yotzi with a pras. You got me? I'll be yotzi with a little bit. If I have just enough to reach the requirement, I have to make a bracha. Right? If I pray Shachris at 9:59 a.m., I have 1 minute to go, and the yeshivish way is to say, am I Yotzi? Did my prayer take effect? If it was at 10:01, we would say, you're not Yotzi. You did not do it within the prescribed amount. This word Yotzi is on every single mitzvah fulfillment in the Talmud. Right? Everything. I mean, learning Torah every day, right? So let's just say there's a minhag or custom. You should learn Torah every day. It's not a statement, but just like that's the person's thing, right? So he says, "Oh man, I almost forgot to learn Torah today. I saw my good friend Jason at the train station, and we learned a Mishnah on Pirkei Avos. I was Yotzi my chiyuv, my obligation to learn today." You follow?
Yep.
Okay, so I would say this means that I am Yotzi. Don't learn to be Yotzi. I did just enough. What's the problem? I did my bit. You're saying don't learn to be Yotzi. Is that correct?
Yeah.
You're saying pras is Yotzi, and it is what it is. But so explain to us now again, in your terms, what pras means and how we can fix that. Go ahead.
Okay, do not be like servants who serve their master in order to just barely serve their master, just to meet the requirements. But rather be like servants who serve their master in order to serve their master plus.
Right. And so what I like about this is here's another new term for you. Ready? Shaklavatare. Shaklavatare means the give and take, the back and forth in yeshiva. Right. Yeah. You ask me, I ask you. Da 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 da. So here's a quick shaklavatare for you. Ready? Right. And I'm gonna do it in an extreme yeshivish twang for you. Extreme. Ready? If I'm a Noahide and I keep 7 laws, I'm doing the bare minimum, right? I'm Yotzi my laws, I get Olam Haba. Is that correct?
Yes.
And I am being told, do not serve for the sake of reward, but rather not for the sake of reward. Is that correct?
That's different.
What? You're saying do not serve for the sake of reward, rather serve not for the sake of reward.
Okay. I guess, but these are two different statements.
Hold on, but that's what he said. He said, do not serve for the sake of reward, rather be like those who serve not for the sake of reward, correct?
Yes.
Okay, now, here's how it goes. If we're a Noahide and we are doing the bare minimum, and even though we get Olam Haba, let's say it's not for the sake of reward, right? Now, if I'm a ger, and how do you become a ger? By serving for the sake of reward. But the interesting thing is a ger who serves for the sake of reward is doing so not for the sake of reward, but rather for not having the sake. You see what I'm saying? He's not serving for the sake of reward. He's serving for having not receiving the sake of reward, which is ironic because ultimately through being a ger, he is getting reward. See how it goes back and forth?
That's deep.
Very deep. So the Noahide is getting reward. He says he isn't, but he's doing the bare minimum. The ger is doing more, technically for the sake of reward, but he's not interested in the reward. Therefore, he's not doing it for the reward, even though he is doing it for the reward.
Well, the reward is doing it, really.
No, the reward is that God is giving you Olam Haba. But that's not your modus operandi of why you are doing it. Even though, to become a ger, you take on the ger because for the sake of reward. Mitzvah ka'ose. Greater he is who commanded and does than he who just does. That's the party line in the Talmud, right? Okay. So the ger is not commanded in 6:13. Is that correct?
Correct.
He's commanded in 7. So is learning Torah a mitzvah for the ger?
Depends on the ger.
No, absolutely not. It's not one of the 7.
Okay.
The 7 never change. Now, can the ger learn Torah on his own?
I think so.
Absolutely. And can he even do it, lefi, becoming a mitzvah as if he was commanded and does? Huh?
Wow.
He can do that, right?
And as if he was commanded?
Well, hold on. He can. He can take on any mitzvah for the sake of reward beyond the 7. For not being commanded upon him initially, but for taking the reshus, the proactive desire to do it on his own. Is that correct?
Yes.
So now he is commanded upon himself to learn Torah for reward, But in his mind, he is doing it not for the sake of reward, but Hashem now is able to give him his reward, i.e. his shefa.
Okay, well, honestly, that's interesting, intriguing, and a new way to look at it for me, because I never factored in the reward at all.
Right. That's the sign of this. That's the irony of the ger.
The servant through pros gets a reward anyway, so that's that. And then anything else would be...
But so the idea is that God is constantly giving shefa. So the ger, by his not doing it for the sake of reward, he is now able to receive his reward. Because God gives it anyways. You can't tell God no.
Okay, so you're a vessel now to receive.
That's right. And so look where the ger has gone from the Noahide. The Noahide says, I'm doing bare minimum, right? And let's say I'm doing it not for the sake of reward, which means he's not doing more mitzvahs, but he's still being yotzi by just doing barely enough to get by. So you see, it constantly oscillates, constantly. Very interesting.
That is.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to do the fourth Mishnah. And, okay, I'm going to read in Hebrew. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yossi ben Yezer, Ish Tzreida, Yossi ben Yochanan, Ish Yerushalayim, Kiblu mehem. Yossi ben Yoezer, Ish Tzreida, Omer, Yehi beisecha beis vaad lechochamim, Behevi mis avik be'afer regleim, Behevi shoysev etzama es divreim. Yossi ben Yoezer, the man of Tzreida. Here's our first research project. What is Tzreida? Right? We're going to research that later, right? And Yossi ben Yochanan, Ish Yerushalayim. We know where that is. Kiblu mehem, and received from them. Yossi ben Yoezer, Ish Tzreida Omer. He says, let your house be a house. Va'ad l'chochamim. So va'ad is an interesting, I think it's like testimony. Right? Base va'ad. How do they translate it? Let's, a meeting place. Wait, let your house be, yeah, that's a bad translation. It doesn't mean that. It's kind of, meeting place is the, what do you call that, a colloquial term? Is that the term? It's the, that's what it generally loosely means. But let's look up in our own time what va'ad, beit va'ad. Like our,
I think odd days, like a crown.
Well, kind of. It has. That's why I want to look it up, because odd has many, many, many connotations. It's almost like ger in that respect, right? It can mean eternal, until, witness, testimony, crown, right? It can mean a lot of things, and still or while. So I want to know the exact etymology of va'ad, but it generally means meeting place. In an apartment building, the owners of the apartments have a council. For like cleaning the apartment, like the stairwells, right? You have to give $5 a month. So that would be the leaders of the building would form what's called a Beit Va'ad. You got it? Yeah. So everybody gets, it's a congregation. That's why it means that. But I wonder where the word actually comes from. But let your house be a meeting place for what was the sages. And you should wrestle with the dust of their feet. Not really. I like to use that. Because, Jacob wrestling the angel. Why do they call wrestling avak? Because when Jacob wrestled the angel, they kicked up the dirt and dust when they wrestled, right?
Yes.
So that's where wrestling comes from. It comes from to kick up dirt. So that's the term. But really here in the context is that you should be in, how does it say it? Sit in the dust of their feet. But afer regleim is in the dust of their feet. So how would you say mit avak? That you should become dusty, right? You should become dust by the dust of their feet. So it's a lot different than saying sit in the dust of their feet. I always think that the wrestling term is apropos, right? You should wrestle with the sages. Don't just sit there and receive it on the head. Again, are you a Noahide or a ger? You know what I mean? Am I patting you on the head? And also a Jewish Baal Tshuva. Don't be pat on the head and just say you sit there and do nothing.
In other words, go ahead and get dirty.
Exactly. Engage, get dirty, wrestle around, ask me tough questions, work it out. Don't be a pedestrian sitting there. Right? That's not what the sage, Boker Tov, boys and girls, the sage doesn't want to pat you on the head. That's not what he's looking to do. He wants to, again, here's a better mashal for you. Mashal means analogy. What's the essence of Ger Torah? Dust off the books on your bookshelf. Right? That's how you get dusty, is it not? I mean, look how many books we've found in the Ger work over the years, right? I mean, how many books we've dusted off and say, wow, where's that coming from? So there's a lot. We're seeing in the first 4 Mishnahs of this work, look how many multiple meanings the sages are drawing in their words, right? We can say, sit down, shut up, and listen to what I have to say. But is that really what it's saying? It's saying, no, get up, stand up, move around, dance a little bit, get dirty, get dusty, get the books off the shelf, ask me difficult questions, all in one word, mitabek. Isn't that cool?
Awesome.
I'll even give you a better one. What's the gematria mitabek? 543. The gematria I shall be that I shall be. Ekya asher ekya. It's also the same gematria as ahava, love, when spelled out in full.
No. And that's translated as roll?
What's that?
In my English here, that's translated as roll.
Mine says sit in the dust of their feet.
It says roll. So mitabek is sit or roll or.
Well, I mean, with Jacob and the angel, it's wrestle.
Okay, so sit and roll.
Are you talking about a Granby roll? For those in Iowa, Dayton, Ohio, will get that joke. No, but abek is a massive word, wrestle. And for those following along also, the name of Moses' son, Gershom, is also the gematria mitabek. At their feet, at their, if we're going to open this up, let's just open it up. Regleihem can also mean their holidays. Regel, holiday, right? And so when is the time that you start learning Torah? 30 days before every holiday. I mean, look, how many people on Facebook started jumping up and down with Pesach stuff around Purim, right? Once the holidays come, everyone's talking holidays. So when do you get dirty and wrestle around and all these things? At the holidays of the sages. That's when the learning gets intense every year. Heavy shaisib b'sama is divrehim, and you should drink thirstily in their words. And I'll even make another conclusion on my own, right? Why does it say and drink thirstily? Not actually. I lied. It's not in their words. Let's be exact here. It's with their words. Es divrehim. So drink thirstily with their words, which is interesting because if you're going to get dusty, and the dust gets in your mouth, wouldn't that make you thirsty? And isn't the dust generated from their words?
Okay, I think I see what's happening here. You're wrestling for their words. Your fatigue is quenched by what you get.
Not only that, but look what I'm saying different. That's good too, but listen to this. You are thirsty because you have dust in your mouth, and the dust is synonymous with their words. Their words in your mouth will make two things happen. Number one, you'll get dust in your mouth. That makes you thirsty. Oh. You hear that? You catch that? No. Well, what does? We're talking about a physical sensation of thirst. Okay. Because you have dust in your mouth. If you were to put dust in your mouth right now, would you be thirsty?
I would definitely want to clean my mouth.
Exactly. You'd have a dry cotton mouth, right? Uh-huh. Okay, so where did the dust come from? The dust is synonymous with their words. Right? You are dusty with the words of the sages. So the more words of Torah that you get in your mouth, it's dusty, you're thirsty. What's the only thing that you can do to satisfy the thirst? Drink water. What is water?
It's counterintuitive, though, because I was wrestling with the sages, trying to get them to speak wisdom to me, the chachamim, and they gave it to me, and it made me thirsty. And the only way that I can quench that thirst is if I get more.
Which again, that's right. And what is how do you quench the thirst? With water, right?
Yeah.
What is water?
Chachma.
Torah.
Yeah.
That's the famous thing, right? Torah is water. Water is Torah.
Right.
So you see how it goes, right? They are putting dust in your mouth. That dust is words in your mouth. That sounds bad. I don't put words in my mouth, right? But that's what it is. They're giving you Torah, right? So what does it mean then if we're going to learn according to Mazel? That's what is happening today. We're learning according to Mazel. If I put words in your mouth, Jason Specht, what am I doing? In Torah terms, if I put words in your mouth, right? In English, that's an insult. In Hebrew, what am I doing? I'm listening to you speak, and I'm sourcing your own words. You see that? So you thought you were just kind of saying stuff, but when you realize that everybody in the world is speaking Torah deep down, when you source what everyone's saying, even against their will, we all speak the will of the divine, then your words in your own mouth were Torah, were dusty, because they were Torah. And so they were dusty because you didn't know. It's like you had cobwebs. You never knew you were speaking Torah. So how do you then put out the thirst? More Torah. More water.
And that actually quenches.
Exactly.
The person that didn't know but dust.
So look what we have here. This is the four elements, right? We have the dust, which is the earth, water. We know that Torah is like fire, right? So I mean, how do you? We know that like charcoal dust comes from extreme heat, right? From like charring things. So the fire of Torah, which is one of our missionaries we're going to come on to, that's how you get the dust in the first place. And how does dust enter your mouth from my kicking it up? Air. So there you have air, water, fire, and earth. And this is all of the soul, and there's your 5 elements.
Perfect.
Yeah. This is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that the Pirkei Avos Mishnayos are little contained worlds, basically, of everything. And if you just lock it down to one kind of little angle, you're not getting it. You're ripping it off. You're not getting what it can be.
Beautiful.
Anything to add to it from what you see in the English? Go ahead and look over the English. Anything you want to add?
No, but I looked it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And you have another graven spot to find.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Who's it? Yossi ben Yozer.
Yossi ben Yozer of Zoraida and his colleague Yossi ben Yochanan of Jerusalem were both buried on the outskirts of Sfat in, I can't remember what's the name of it. It's like Wadi Amud area, which is just like beneath Sfat.
Wow.
And Yossi ben Yozer of Zoraida was actually crucified.
Wow.
Pre Hanukkah.
Wow.
And he and his colleague, the next Mishnah, Ben Yerushalayim, they were the last of the great clusters, which is the greatest men of Israel, in pairs. So they're interesting characters, and they're in Sfat still. In fact, the kever.
Yeah.
You need to find it.
I'm making it. I'll go only if you come to Israel and go with me.
Well, it's a hard one to find because they don't even know for sure. Right?
Oh, really?
Rabbi Chaim Vital, the cave located in the vicinity of Kever Brei Drav Safra, has an opening its roof, and inside are 3 crevices, each with one of the Zadikim buried inside. Currently, the exact location of the cave is unknown.
That's awesome.
Everybody's in Sfat, man.
I know. The north of Israel. When I used to drive to the Muslim village, Florides, when I taught English, it was such a rush to see. Because I would drive from Sfat all the way across the country to the coast towards Haifa. And you'd see along the road, I mean, everyone's buried there. Every day, you'd see, I'd want to stop and see things. And my personal favorite was Rav Hamnuna Saba. All you guys out there listening probably know who he is. He's the one that has the midrash about the letters coming before God. Hey, God, create the world with me. And that's him. So we have 5 minutes left. I want to challenge you, okay? Who was the second gunman on the grassy knoll? Joking. Just joking. And this is just a creative challenge. Ready? Do you see a build-up and from the first four Mishnayos, I'm not saying I do. I wouldn't be surprised if there is. So we start with the tradition with Moses and the fence and that. Then we go to the 3 pillars. Then we go to don't serve for the sake of reward and all that. And then we have like all the dust and the elements and all these things. Can you try to just see if you can find a progression?
I have wondered that, but I haven't put my finger on it yet.
So let's just vocalize it then. We have the tradition and think things out, which makes a lot of students make a fence for the Torah. So we're coming together, right? Right? We're setting conditions to come together. How about that? That if I want to have a lot of people coming around, we have to have boundaries and guidelines. And don't be rash into knee-jerk react with people, right? Think things through. And if we do that, we'll be sure to have Torah, prayer, and kind deeds, right? All kinds of people will come. People that are interested in doing kind deeds, people that want to pray, people want to learn. Then you're going to say, what about the riffraff that comes? Right? People are going to want to just hang around, and it's easy, and you guys are really cool, right? So, hold on, not so fast. Don't be the guy that comes around to say, like, I went to Rabbi Katz and Jason today, and we heard a couple words of Torah. Don't be that guy. Don't just come for the minimal. Make it your life. Make it a commitment. Make a decision, right? And don't say, well, I'm a good person because I'm getting rewarded for what I'm doing. No, don't do that. So it's like the third Mishnah is already a qualifier. It's a din, right? It's saying, hey, be serious. And then by number 4, what's the flip side of that? What's the flip side of saying be serious? Then, okay, thanks, Rabbi, but how do I be serious? Beat up the rabbi. That's how you be serious. Don't be pat on the head. Don't sit there quiet. Vocalize. Stand up. Get dirty. Get wet. Put words in your, allow words to come in your mouth. Right? Don't say, like, don't you put words in my mouth. That's not what this is about.
It's bringing it home, because next week it's going to talk about being in your home.
Right.
And talking with your wife. It gets more and more intimate, basically. We have
Oh, yeah, very good. All right, so that's it. Don't come to my house and sit there and be quiet and be like, oh, I'm doing good. You're not doing good. You're the guy receiving for the sake of reward. Right. It might be hard to hear, but and antithetical even, but get dirty, y'all. Vocalize, stand up, shout. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's family.
That's right.
It starts out with broad terms: Torah, divine service.
Right, and you'll say, but wait, but we shouldn't be getting too close, this and that. We already established that. We got the fence, so to speak, right? We got prayer times. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. If I said, Jason, we're never going to pray, you wouldn't come. Right? I mean, it's understood. Look, Rabbi Katz, I'm only here because I want to pray. You know what I'm saying? If people are real, they have their desires. I'm doing a good deed. I'm here to pray. I'm here to learn. Right? That already means you're not here for the sake of reward. So, let people be, let their souls be. Let people, let them be responsible. Let them enact what their soul is telling them to do. You might be surprised with what levels of responsibility people have in the world.
And let the dust fall where it...
That's it. That's it. All right, so next time we're on to the mission of 5. Let's just give a little prelude, okay? Yossi ben Yochanan Ish Yerushalayim. Right, for the first we had Yossi ben Yoezer. Now we got to hear from his friend. Rabbi Yochanan Ish Yerushalayim Omer. Ibesecha besuach l'revacha. Vayu aniyim b'nei besecha. Right, and this is the blurb for next week. Let your house be open with a open wide. That's a good translation. Open wide. That the treat the poor members of your household. Treat the poor as members of your household.
Oh, that's the guy.
That's it. That's exactly it. All right, Jason, I enjoy this as always. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, the insights are great. You're doing awesome. Keep it up, and we'll continue with Mishnah 5 next time.
All right. Thank you, Rabbi.
All right. See you, Jason. Bye.